Welcome back to Tailgate. You know, when you hang out in New York long enough, you make new friends. Political panel time. Republican strategist McLaughlin and Democratic strategist Cameron French join me here right in New York. Haven't met you before. You're my new friend, so welcome. Jim, let me start with you. Kristi Noem out. Peter Welch, Democratic senator from Vermont, just told me he thinks there might be some corruption there that could be criminal when they look into some of these contracts for the TV ads the DHS funded and Kristi Noem oversaw.
And look, there's different stories. I mean, this literally just happened. About what exactly happened. And look, Donald Trump, you've got to perform. I've known him for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
And it's all about excellence when it comes to Donald Trump. And look, there could be some questions here. It looks like it's going to be Senator Markwayne Mullin who's going to come in, a person that both Democrats and Republicans, as well as even a lot of the labor unions, have a lot of faith in.
And you mentioned, you know, Donald Trump. He cares about television. He cares about people saying what he did or didn't do. And Kristi Noem testified that he approved this large, more than $200 million budget for these ads that prominently feature her. He disagrees with that, and that's based on, I'm guessing, your experience with him, a line you better not cross.
Oh, without a doubt. And I look at it this way. Look, President Trump, he's got so much on his plate.
No doubt.
I think the last thing he's caring about is some sort of an ad campaign that's going on. And look, what do you want the focus to be about? You want the focus to be about how we're securing the borders, how his immigration policies have been a huge success. You know, I see these Democratic governors, Democratic mayors from across the country that are telling us how crime rates have gone down. The main reason why they've gone down is because of President Trump's successful immigration policies of getting rid of criminal illegal aliens.
Cameron, weigh in.
Well, I mean, listen, it's interesting that the president decided to get involved and remove someone who's been a terrible leader of the Department of Homeland Security for the last several years or months.
I mean, the precipitating factor wasn't the death of Renee Good
it wasn't.
or Alex Preddy.
It was not.
It was TV ads.
It was TV ads, and it was him being held accountable for something in front of Congress. That is ultimately what did in Kristi Noem. And now he's made a decision to possibly put in another senator who doesn't really have experience leading an agency of this size. Sure, he's worked in business, and we appreciate that. But these are hard jobs. I mean, you're managing tens of billions of dollars.
But you know the White House looked at this and said, we cannot create a confirmation headache for us right now, so let's pick a senator.
They did. I think it was
straight
an
up.
easy.
You would agree? You both agree with that?
I think that was an easy.
I think that, and also somebody both the Democrats and the Republicans can agree on. I mean, you look at Markwayne Mullin's record over the years, and he's gotten a lot of Democratic support. He has a history of working with Democrats to get things done.
Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, very tough on Kristi Noem earlier this week, posted about Markwayne Mullin at the end of a long series of things he thought were positives. Another big positive, he likes dogs. Look it up, kids. You'll know what he's talking about. I want to bring your attention to Ken Paxton. The president apparently is going to endorse John Cornyn, because Senate Republican leaders are going to beg him and have been begging him to do that. Ken Paxton qualified for the runoff. The president said yesterday on social media, if I don't endorse you, Ken Paxton, get out of this race. Paxton said today, I would consider dropping out of this race if Senate leadership agrees to lift the filibuster and passes the Save America Act, which is about voting reforms. You're not a senator. You can't change the rules. But Paxton's trying to power play here.
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, what matters in that runoff is whoever the Republican nominee is that President Trump endorses, that's who it's going to win. Look, I've told people for years, I've been doing politics for over 40 years, endorsements are the most overrated thing in American politics.
Until Trump.
Except
for
in this
Donald
case.
Trump endorsement in a Republican primary. And look, I think unfortunately Ken Paxton knows it's over. If President Trump endorses Senator Cornyn's going to win.
Right. Cameron, I want to direct your attention to Virginia redistricting because President Obama has weighed in on that, now supporting it. That's another place where Democrats are in position to redraw the map and try to tilt this map leading into the midterms slightly in their favor.
Absolutely. Well, this all started when Republicans wanted to rewrite the rule book to put themselves in a favorable position for this upcoming midterm.
In Texas.
In Texas. And that set off a chain reaction of what we're seeing all across the country, including in Virginia. President Obama has said that Virginians have an opportunity beginning tomorrow with early voting and then through April to right that wrong and really have a say in how the elections are structured and determined. And they need to have an opportunity to have their voice heard and do so in a way that's effective and equitable for everybody. And that's what's going to happen. Otherwise, the Republicans are going to rewrite every rule possible to make sure that they come out on top in November.
Jim, I want to ask you something about the Republican atmosphere and how they're interpreting it, because two things happened this week that nobody had on their radar. Steve Daines announced he's not seeking re-election, and Ryan Zinke, member of the House, announced he was. Both totally safe, completely surefire re-election candidates, and they're backing out. Things like that sometimes suggest to me what people feel like the outside environment is.
But I don't think those things were a surprise. And you look at
You were
somebody
expecting
like
those?
No, I wasn't expecting
Okay.
them, but I don't think they were necessarily a surprise. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago. You look at somebody like Congressman Neil Dunn, where people in the media and the Democrats were telling us he was going to resign, and that's down in Florida too. And obviously he decided, and he had to go out and announce, say, hey, I'm not going to resign my seat here. These things happen. And somebody like Steve Daines, I know Steve Daines a little bit, and he is, he's a normal guy. He's a regular guy. And I also think he believes, hey, I served my 2 terms. Now it's enough. We don't, especially on the Republican side, we don't like a lot of these career politicians. So I think he just thought it
Cameron,
was
you
time
got
to
10
move
seconds.
on.
Jump
Let
in.
me just say this. Republicans can read, or politicians can read polls. War in Iran unpopular. Costs are going up. No one wants to stick around and have to defend every single thing that Donald Trump does. That's not a job for a politician.
My new friends in New York, Jim McLaughlin, Cameron French. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.